Good afternoon, my name is Araceli Jara and we are a group of 4 members, Nerea del Frago, Carlos Bañares, Ikerni Huertanos and me. Firstly, our theme is socio-educational institutions, which is defined as a collection of individuals being together in pursuit of a common purpose. Also, it is as a group the people making up a social institution share common objectives and goals. Secondly, talking about social educational institutions, the title of our article is Education or Incarceration, Zero Tolerance Policies, and the School to Prison Pipeline. The author is Nancy Hates, Professor of Sociology and Program Director, Critical Studies of Race and Ethnicity, St. Catherine University and Sao Paulo. Furthermore, that the article is developed in 21 pages, of which the last 2 are focused in the bibliography. The structure of our article has been developed in 3 points, which are the school to prison pipeline defining, the school to prison pipeline the context, and the school to prison pipeline zero tolerance policies. Moreover, we have chosen this article since it seems to us a very important subject as a students and as a future teachers. Also, from this, we have been able to gain a lot of knowledge of how educational institutions are doing in other countries, as in United States. Finally, through the article, we have seen that diversity, values, and knowledge are very important because if they are not well developed and established in educational institution, can give rise to what happened in United States, for example, to the prison pipeline. In addition, within the presentation of the article that we have chosen, we have seen fit to introduce a theater. It shows a little of the reality that many students in the United States spend.
Okay, girls, in this class we are going to speak about education. It's the intentional development of specifically human capacities. That means that with education we will develop intelligence, relation.
Why don't you throw me that?
Come on, Araceli, shut up!
Yeah.
Okay, class, let's continue with the film. Okay, and what have you learned about the film?
Well, I think that the film is a little bit racist. Stop now!
What are you doing with that scissors? You have committed a huge mistake. Come on, come with me.
No!
Come with me.
Not... Oh,
Another Latin prayer.
Well, I am Nerea del Frago and now I am going to talk about 3 suggestions that the author proposed in order to improve education at schools. First of all, state legislatures must protect the civil rights of all the students and safeguard against discriminatory practices that led to disproportionate expulsion of minority students. The 3 arguments that the author provides to explain these suggestions are that these racial disparities cannot be explained by differences in behavior. They must be explained by different enforcement of zero-tolerance policies. Moreover, this trend does not appear to be correlated with racial differences in destructive classroom behaviors. And finally, these rates of suspension and expulsion of Latinos are somewhat higher than expected, but black students are the brunt of these policies. In 21 states, the disproportionality is so pronounced that the percentage of black students that leave schools is double than the percentage of the student body. The second suggestion that the author provides is that schools should notify students and parents under what circumstances the law requires or standard policies dictates referral of students to law enforcement agencies and for what conduct. The argument that the author adds is that students should be routinely advised of the Miranda rights, where criminal charges might be filed. The third argument that the author supports is that schools must cease criminalizing students for trivial behaviors that can be handled by traditional, educationally sound school disciplinary measures. Two arguments that the author says are that risk is concentrated among black students whose parents are high school dropouts. 50% of those children have a father in prison. Moreover, state should maintain compulsory attendance requirements for those under 16, mandate and offer alternative educational services. Well, and finally, I would like to finish this part of the project with a sentence that the author provides, which is that the future of youth of color depends on our ability to reject the endless cycle of incarceration and recommit to the promise of education.
I'm Carlos Bañales, and I'm going to speak about the challenges and difficulties that arise for educational institutions. Educational institutions have to overcome the prejudice made by the media. They must speak to the press in order to make them aware of their power and influence over the society. They should encourage them to sign a deal to prohibit showing the race of the person who have committed a criminal act, to stop racism among viewers. Children are learning in a war atmosphere surrounded by weapons and cameras. It is for your security, John. Security? Not really. So educational institutions should come to an agreement to realize which is their real role in the world. They are here to educate tomorrow's society. They have to collaborate to make them feel comfortable in their day-by-day classes, drawing red lines that couldn't be crossed in any situation. Zero tolerance policies have been promoted by American guns lobbies and have represented an increase of expulsion at the schools instead of security. The challenge in this aspect is make worthy measures that should be done by a group of experts in child psychology.
I am Guillermo and I'm going to talk about the main statement that the author covers in this work. The first one is, while the school-to-prison pipeline is facilitated by a number of trends in education, it is most attributable to the expansion of the zero-tolerance policies. The school-to-prison pipeline is following the trail of students out of educational institutions by zero-tolerance policies into the criminal justice system. The schools have a role of informers to prison. Zero-tolerance policies are policies that when you make the minor mistake or the minor behavior mistake to the future mistake, you are gonna go to prison because the teacher is gonna send you to prison. The next statement is that the TV news construct a portrait of crime, criminals and victims that is not supported by any data. This means that TV, when are searching news or are showing news about criminals, they normally have the same face for the criminal, that mostly are Latin people or black people. This is not true because statistics don't say the same. The third statement is the United States currently has the highest incarceration rate in the world. This is because more than 2.4 million people are in jail, this is 100,000 out of 100,000, 751. More than 3.5 people are waiting for execution, and 5 million people are in correctional supervision. The effect of this situation in education comes because their lack of living. The last but not least statement is that nationally black students are being suspended in numbers greater than would be expected for the proportion of student population. This is because of zero tolerance and the TV news that teachers are not as much tolerant as they should be with them. Just for preventing our behavior, they make huge mistakes with mostly, as I said before, Latin and black students.
Well, finally, in this last part of the project, we are going to make like an evaluation of this work. We want to say that our main objective of this project has been to do it as dynamic as it has been possible. We think that doing it like with a theater could make that easily to understand it for the future students, and also more understandable.
Each member of the group has done one part of the project work, and this final one, as you could see, is being explained by all of us.
The stereotypes that have been developed due to television and internet are influencing in such a way that in the United States these inadequate measures are being carried out. For this reason, this project has been interesting and useful for our degree and future job, as the mistakes mentioned among the tests could be taken into account and
We would
overcome.
certainly recommend this text for anybody because it's a reality happening in the US, and it can't be spread around the world, and it has to be stopped.
Answering the last question of this part, we will say that the organization of the educational system is based on a minority model, where diversity between students is not taken into account due to the racial differences. Fear, stereotypes created by mass media, and lack of organization lead to extremely serious